Did you create two new variables? I hope so. Probably you call them E from enemy X, and probably, because E taken already, F. And you can remember that E means enemy X and F means enemy Y. Strange, isn't it? Well, most of the programmers that have started to code soon and are noobs yet, they make such stupid names for their variables, and it's a big mistake. We have 4 variables yet, and probably you can remember which of the letters in the alphabet means what. Well, bigger games have more than 4 variables, and if the coders, if the programmers have to remember all the variable meanings, it will be big horror. That's the reason why I told you to call your variables with a name that is good enough, just like enemy X and enemy Y. Can you be honest and tell me, did you try to choose shorter but really stupid name for your variables? Tell me, I will not be able to hear you anyway. Or perhaps I have a secret camera hidden in your room, hahaha. Well, I might not have a hidden camera in your room, but the enemy has, and he's really scary. So we should draw it. We should write a line of code in the draw function to show our enemy. Context.viewRect is the only line that we know to draw things, and these things are rectangles. So I am about to write my context.viewRect, and I have to put 4 numbers in it. I hope it is easy for you to guess that the first 2 numbers should be enemy X and enemy Y. But what should be the other numbers? What was the purpose of the last 2 numbers of context.viewRect? Those 2 last numbers meant the size of the rectangle that we are going to draw, and our enemy is really scary. You know, he can see the darkest secrets, and he can chase you in the playing canvas. So we should draw it scary and big. So I will enter size of perhaps 70 for his width and 80 for his height. Does this sound good for you? Well, let's see. I saved my code and I'm going to refresh the browser, and I have mistakes, and this mistake is pretty scary because it says something stupid. It says that I miss a closing bracket after all my arguments of context.viewRect on line 13. This is strange. Here is my closing bracket, and I don't think I miss those brackets. I think my line has all the brackets it needs. This is one of the cases that the errors showed in our browser are not very correct and not very helpful, because the thing that I actually miss on this line is a comma. Between each two parameters I need a comma, and if I want to give 4 parameters to context.viewRect, how many commas do I need? Yes, this is right, I need one more comma right here. Let's see if our enemy looks more scary now. Well, the game is working, which is good, and I can jump if I'm pressing enough keys for jump. But there is no enemy. This is kind of sad, because I think I wrote the perfect context.viewRect. And if you have the same context viewRect and you are sad that your enemy doesn't appear too, perhaps you can delete this line and try again. Please don't do it. This is not a good way to debug your code, to fix your bugs. We can do totally different things to see what's wrong with our code. And the first thing that I plan to do is, in order to investigate what's wrong with this context viewRect, I'm going to add a new console.log, and I want to see what parameters I gave to context viewRect. So I'm going to copy all of those 4 digits. Perhaps the last 2 are boring and they are always going to be 70 and 80, which is fine. Perhaps it's more interesting for me to see enemy X and enemy Y. Let's see what's going on if I test the code this way. Well, there is a lot of spam here. A lot of different messages popping up. You can see that 70 and 80 are appearing often enough, but there is much more spam coming from line 7. Line 7 is old console log that I could have deleted a long time ago. It helped me. It helped me with an old bug, and now I don't need it anymore. So I will delete this console log, and I can see only my new console log that is saying that enemy X and enemy Y are undefined. Well, I created those variables, but I didn't give them a proper initial value. Can you advise which initial value would be good for enemy X and enemy Y? Perhaps you should experiment on this line, and when you are ready, I hope you can see your scary enemy. Perhaps you would need to do one more thing so that your enemy is really scary and dangerous for the player. I want you to try to do this yourself, and in the next video I will offer some solutions for the initial positions of the enemy and the last thing that our enemy needs. Good luck!